Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Jai Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Jai Jai Gurudev, 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 Jai Jai Gurudev.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
Jai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Jai Gaura Hari Bol.
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
नाम संकीर्तनम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, गुरु महाराज की जय, assembled devotees की जय, जय गौर प्रेमानंदे।
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. All glories to assembled devotees. Thank you, Hare Krishna. Welcome all devotees once again for joining. Thank you all for devotees for joining the Nityam Bhagavata Seva, daily Srimad Bhagavatam reading morning session in English. Hare Krishna. So Thursday we have completed verse number 4.30.43. So today we'll start with verse number 44 onwards of chapter 30. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tado Jamadire. Nashta Prayesha Bhadresha Nityam Bhagavata Sevya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktar Bhavati Nashtagi. Mugam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Lange Dekirim Yat Kripata Brahmande Paramanandamadavam. Sri Gurum Dinadarinam Sri Chaitanyam Isharamopajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalagya Chachudum Milidam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stavidam Yena Bhudale Swayam Rupa Gadamahyam Dadanti Subhadandigam. Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Udapatagamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnavamsha Sri Rupam Sagarjadam Sadvedam Savadutam Parijanasavidam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahana Lalada Sri Vishakha Nijamsha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagalpade Gopesha Gopika Kanda Radha Kanda Namostude Taptakanjana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhana Sude Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhya Kripa Sindhubhya Vachapatitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhudale Srimade Jagadaga Swamin Nidinamini Nama Acharya Padaya Nidaya Gurva Pradayani Gurikata Damadaya Nagaragramadharini Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhudale Srimade Bhaktivedanta Swamin Nidinamini Namaste Saraswati Deva Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pachatya Deshakarini Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Siva Sadi Gauravakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That's it. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Shivamana Prabhuji, for joining as usual on Saturday to enlighten us. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. So we are lucky. Okay, Sudarshan Prabhuji also there today and Sarvaida Madaji also there. Hare Krishna. Thank you all devotees once again for our Nityam Bhagavata Sevya. Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, I'll start with verse number 44.
Yes, Prabhu, please.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Pranam. Verse number 44 to start. Hare Krishna. Sudarshan Bharaji?
Yes, Prabhu, I will read, Prabhu. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Prabhu.
Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 30, Text number 44. Atha nirjaya salilat, Atha nirjaya salilat, Prachetasa udanvataha, Prachetasa udanvataha, Vikshagupyan Drumayschannam, Vikshagupyan Drumayschannam, Gam Gam Rodhum Ivochritai, Gam Gam Rodhum Ivochritai. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhayacharana Aravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation. Thereafter, all the Prajetas emerged from the waters of the sea. Then they saw that all the trees on the land had grown very tall, as if to obstruct the path to the heavenly planets. These trees had covered the entire surface of the world. At this time, the Prajetas became very angry. Purport. King Prajina Barhishat left his kingdom before his sons arrived after their execution of penance and austerity. The sons, the Prajetas, were ordered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead to come out of the water and go to the kingdom of their father in order to take care of that kingdom. However, when they came out, they saw that everything had been neglected due to the king's absence. They first observed that food grains were not being produced and that there were no agricultural activities. Indeed, the surface of the world was practically covered by very tall trees. It seemed as though the trees were determined to stop people from going into outer space to reach the heavenly kingdoms. The Prajetas became very angry when they saw the surface of the globe covered in this way. They decided that the land be cleared for crops. It is not a fact that jungles and trees attract clouds and rains because we find rainfall over the sea. Human beings can inhabit any place on the surface of the earth by clearing jungles and converting land for agricultural purposes. People can keep cows and all economic problems can be solved in that way. One need only work to produce grains and take care of the cows. The wood found in the jungle may be used for constructing cottages. In this way, the economic problems of humanity can be solved. At the present moment, there are many vacant lands throughout the world, and if they are properly utilized, there will be no scarcity of food. As far as rain is concerned, it is the performance of yajna that attracts rain. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 3.14, Annad bhavati bhutani parjanyat anna sambhavaha. Yajnat bhavati parjanyo yajna karma samudbhavaha. All living bodies subsist on food grains which are produced from rains. Rains are produced by performance of yajna, that is sacrifice, and yajna is born of prescribed duties. By performing sacrifice, man will have sufficient rainfall and crops. So now we welcome Shivaguna Prabhuji, request Shivaguna Prabhuji to give explanation. And before that, would like to all the devotees to unmute and enthusiastically chant Hare Krishna mantra 3 times to welcome Shivaguna Prabhuji. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Rama.
Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Sevana Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare
First
Krishna.
of all, I would like to express my inability. I am not qualified, but since devotees are requesting for my own purification, I will just share whatever my understanding. Because it is said that Srimad Bhagavatam is meant for very, very elevated people, for Paramahamsas. So it's really, definitely we can say I'm not qualified for this. But again, we will, as we are to purify ourselves, we'll take up this task. Whatever my understanding, I will share, and please you also feel free to share your understanding as well. Hare Krishna. So we are now discussing from this 30th chapter entitled
Activities of Prajadas. Activities of Prajadas.
Yeah, the activities of Prachetas. So we are the last section of this chapter. We have a few more verses left. And I think last Saturday we saw how they were asking, the Prachetas had the darshan of the Lord, and they were asking the benedictions. And the benedictions was that they always want to be in the association of devotees and hear the glories of the Lord. Yes. So after that, the Lord actually is disappearing after the giving the benedictions. And the Lord also instructed them that maybe now you can stop your austerities and come out of the water, because the Prachetas were doing their austerities within the water. And so the Lord instructed now, because the king is not there, because King Prachina Varshit already left the kingdom before his son has arrived, before his sons arrived. That's written by Prabhupada in the purport. So without kingdom, without a king, and the citizens, the kingdom is not taken care properly. So the Lord instructed that it is now for your time to stop your austerities. I already given you all the predictions. So please come back of the water, out of the water, and go back to your kingdom and rule this kingdom in a proper way, so that the citizens are taken care properly. So as per the Lord instructed, the Prachetas, therefore thereafter the Prachetas emerged from the waters of the sea. So they want to go back to the kingdom back. When they came out of the water, and we know that why they have taken the water as a place, because in the past ages, people sometimes go to very, very secluded place where there's not much disturbances. And by the yogic powers, they can meditate in anywhere. They can do their austerity within the water also. Like we know the Saubari Muni, right, Prabhu? Saubari Muni. He also did tapasya within the water. So like that, the Prachetas completed their austerity in the water and they came out. When they came out, they say something astonishing. They saw, when they came to the land, that all the trees on the land are grown very tall. You know that there are certain species of trees which grow very, very tall. So when they came out, they saw that because they were so many years in the austerity. So when they came out, they see that all the land, it was grown with very, very tall trees. And the example, it's given compared to as if to obstruct the path to heavenly planets. That means everything was covered. So enough sunlight, when the trees grow very tall, what happens? You don't get access to proper sunlight also. Normally, if you see the tropical forest, or if you see this rainforest, we can see hardly the sunlight will enter, because the trees are very, very tall. So these trees has covered the entire surface of the world. At this time, the Prachetas became very angry. That's why you can see the Lord has made an arrangement. Sometimes the forest automatically catches fire. We always see in the news that there is forest fire. Like last week also, there was a big forest fire in Canada. And the whole area became, this atmosphere became contaminated with the air pollution. But it is one of the nature's arrangement that the trees has to be cleared after a period of time. So these fires happen naturally. And these fires, what it will happen, these fires happen and all these trees are destroyed so that the sunlight can come. And these burnt out trees become as a fertile. They become as a manure for the soil. So these are all the arrangements of the Lord for the cultivation. So here, when they see that the trees are unattended, not maintained, and they are grown, and they are obstructing many things for the cultivation, and also the obstructing the path of heavenly planets. So the Prachetas thought that this is not a good thing. So they naturally become angry because it is obstructing so many things. So Srila Prabhupada gives the detail in the purport.
that explaining about the Pracheta's reaction for this. So we'll read Srila Prabhupada purport here. King Prachina Barshit left his kingdom before his sons arrived after their execution of penance and austerity. The sons, the Prachetas, were ordered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead to come out of the water and go to the kingdom of their father in order to take care of the kingdom. Because the Lord's duty is one of the Lord takes up his responsibility that always the dharma has to prevail. So he makes sure that the king is ideal. So he makes sure they are going back to the kingdom. However, when they came out, they saw that everything had been neglected due to the king's absence. So when a leader is absent, normally the society is not functioning properly. So here, because the king is not there, so many things are neglected and it was not in proper order. They first observed that food grains were not being produced and that there were no agricultural activities. So this is in those times, it was observed that there was not proper agricultural activities. Indeed, the surface of the world was practically covered by very tall trees. So it is said that when we are reading Srimad Bhagavatam also, and every day when we are reading, what happens? The analogy is given that when you are walking in the field, people in the villages, they are walking in the field regularly. So the path is cleared. So the trace of the path where they are walking, there will be no grass or nothing. Only you can see a clear one-way path. It is going to the certain destination. But if they don't stop walking, what happens? Then the grass starts coming back and then you lose that path. Similarly, our path back to home, back to God is actually very clear when you are every day reading this Bhagavatam, because every day you are walking that path. So our mind is clear, our intelligence is clear, and our path back to home, back to Godhead is very clear. But suppose we are not having this Vani, we are not hearing this Shravanam. What happens? Then slowly, this grass-like material things starts cropping up, and the path back to home, back to Godhead is lost. So here also it is said that it is obstructing the path to the heavenly planets. We can take it in that way. And the world was practically covered by very tall trees, and also indicates that there will be lack of sunlight. So when there is lack of sunlight, people will not be very healthy also, because you get all this vitamin D and everything with good sunlight. So sunlight is very much essential for cultivation as well as for our healthy body. So here the trees are covering all those things. So the Prachetas were so much upset. It seemed as though the trees were determined to stop people from going into the outer space to reach the heavenly kingdoms. The Prachetas became very angry when they saw the surface of the globe covered in this way. So natural reaction is they became very angry. They decided that the land immediately be cleared for crops, for cultivation. So because of this tapasya, what they did, so actually they emitted, that I think will come in the next verse. I think they will emitting fire from their mouths out of their tapasya, so that, because as I said, natural way of clearing a forest is jungle fires. So here the Prachetas emitted the fire by their tapasya, so in order to clear all those trees. I think that may be coming in the next verse. Continuing the purport, it is not a fact that jungles and trees attract clouds and rain. So Srila Prabhupada is saying that not only because of jungles and rains that it is attracting the clouds and rain, because we find rainfall over the sea also as well. Rainfall is distributed even like places like in desert, like in Kuwait. We see that there is rainfall, in certain months, but there are no trees here. That's what Prabhupada is writing here. It's not a fact that jungles and trees only attract clouds and rain, because we find rainfall over the sea as well. Human beings can inhabit any place on the surface of the earth by clearing jungles and converting land for agricultural purposes. Because too much jungles, practically it is not having much utility for the human beings. Of course, for the part of the ecological balance, jungles also play an important role. But definitely for the utility purpose for the human beings, it's not directly useful. So here Srila Prabhupada is saying that those land can be used for agricultural purposes, because that lands are very fertile lands. Wherever the jungles are there, that land is a very fertile land, so it can be used for the human beings for cultivating crops and vegetables. So people can keep cows, and all economic problems can be solved in that way. So this is self-reliance. Self-reliance means you don't depend on any external factors. As long as you have a cow, you get nutritious milk, because milk is very nutritious for the body as well as for the mind also. and the vegetables and cultivation. So basic need for a human being is actually you should have good food and good, healthy body. So if you see countries like Africa, they are all like many people are malnourished because they have this problem of economic problem. But if they concentrate on more on agriculture, the government will support, then this economic problem, at least that malnourishment will be resolved. So Prabhupada gives, this is a sustainable economic model. Sustainable economic model means it is always like very healthy that you have some kind of land for yourself. So everybody has to have some kind of land because we need to promote agriculture and keep cows so that we get sufficient milk. So that is one solution Srila Prabhupada is giving here. Instead of getting entangled with the modern complexities, one of the way of simple living, high thinking. One need only to work to produce grains and take care of the cows. The wood found in the jungles may be used for constructing cottages. Of course, we need one of the basic necessity for human being is food, clothing, and shelter. Three things: food, clothing, and shelter. So this shelter, we can make our cottages using the wood found in the jungles. In this way, the economic problem of humanity can be solved. At present moment, there are many vacant lands throughout the world. When we are traveling, we see only people are concentrated around cities or certain areas, but other areas will be always empty. And if they are properly utilized, there will be no scarcity of food. And of course, when you are doing cultivation, we definitely want rain, water. Without water, there will be no cultivation. There will be no food. So Prabhupada writes here, as far as rain is concerned, it is a performance of yajna that attracts rain. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 3.14, Annat Bhavanti Bhutani, Parjanyat Anna Sambhava, Yajnat Bhavati Parjanyo, Yajna Karma Samudbhavaha. It's a very famous verse which is quoted many times by Srila Prabhupada in his lectures, that the basic, we are going back to the basic. Of course, we are technologically developed now. We have a lot of comforts because of this technology, and we are used to these comforts also. But what is a basic necessity of a human being is actually food, clothing, and shelter. These are the three things, and God has made arrangement for all these three things. He has given earth, water, fire, air, ether. So if we want to live in this world healthily, with these basic necessities, we can live by proper cultivation and things. We need not require this artificial necessities, even though we are used to that now. But it is not basically mandatory that without this we cannot live. If we say without food we cannot live, but without AC we can live. Okay, but we are used to that now. So in order to have a proper food cultivation, we need definitely rain. And the rain, according to the scripture, it is actually generated by performance of yajna. So that verse Prabhupada is quoting here, Annat Bhavanti Bhutani, Parjanyan Sambhava, Yajnat Bhavati Parjanyo, Yajna Karma Samudvaha. So when we are sometimes in the natural, not artificial kind of lifestyle, we normally forget God or what nature is giving. Even the children's now, modern generation, they cannot relate everything to nature because they get everything in the supermarket. So they could not go beyond what is there in the supermarket. So, but somebody is close to the nature, they can see the miracles of nature. Who is very close, living close to the nature, every day they can see the miracles and they can witness it. But when we are disconnected, we cannot appreciate that. So that's why here it is said that all living bodies subsist on food grains which are produced from rains. Rains are produced by performance of yajna, and yajna is born of prescribed duties. By performing sacrifice, man will have sufficient rainfall and crops. So our basic necessities will be solved by this kind of simple living. And here we can note one more point also, that we are now living in a modern city for our sustenance. Then how come it is practically possible? So at least in International Society of Krishna Consciousness, they give some solution that at least you work for a short period of time, you can earn some money and you can have some investment for your returns, and then start to have your own land, kind of organic farming and a small goshala, and you can maintain. Of course, a lot of ISKCON devotees are there. They move from abroad. Sometimes people move from even from Western countries like America or something. They go back. They put some money for their sustenance. Because sometimes what happens by vegetation also, vegetables, if you are putting so much onto cultivation, you cannot gain profit because you can only get you can have a healthy life, you can have a sustenance. So people, in order to have a kind of secured income, so they have some money after their earning, but they will retire early. Early retirement they have. Once they have a little enough money, they put, and then they have some land, and then they have some cows, and they have kind of cultivate their spiritual life. But definitely, place we are living will be very sattvic, and the food we are producing ourselves, that will also have been very sattvic. So all this sattvic nature will promote us, will accelerate our spiritual progress. And so that is one of the solution how to implement what Srila Prabhupada is teaching here, that we should have our own land and we should have our own cows and have a healthy life, simple living, high thinking. So this is one thing which Srila Prabhupada is recommending here. And we also know the famous example where Prabhupada practically demonstrated when there was a drought in Hyderabad and there was no crops coming out because of lack of rainfall. Prabhupada instructed his disciples to perform Harinam Sankirtan, and they performed Harinam Sankirtan for 2 to 3 days, and then there was a big downpour of rain, and that was published in the newspaper articles. So as long as we can perform this, definitely Krishna will protect us by giving whatever is required as per the nature, whatever rainfall, crops, cultivation. Because the modern life, people think that there is no God behind this arrangement. But by the teachings of Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, we understand Maya Rakshena Prakriti Suyetecha Sarachara. This material nature is working under my superintendence. So we know that there is an operator behind this material nature. Material nature does not produce anything automatically. And when we are taking efforts to please that Supreme Personality of Godhead, we will have a very, very flourishing and healthy life. And that we can see that when Yudhishthira Maharaj was actually reigning the kingdom, we can see that in the Bhagavatam and Mahabharata, there is a description that the Mother Earth was flourishing with all these valuable jewels, crops, vegetation, everything was healthy. There was no drought or famine during that time. So, and also we understood the same with Prithu Maharaj pastimes also. When King Vena was there, so he was not leading an ideal kingdom. So the Mother Earth, withdrawn all the crops. And when Prithu Maharaj did that sacrifice, Mother Earth became very happy and she given back all this for the well-being of the citizens. So this is how the scriptures sees this material nature, that when we satisfy the Supreme Lord by performing the Sankirta Yajna, then automatically we get all the necessary nourishment from the nature. Hare Krishna. So that is whatever I understood, I shared it. Please feel free to share your comments or understanding also. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu, for your detailed explanation. Very thoroughly it is explained by you. Thank you for the devotees who has got and ask any doubts from this topic, today's sloka, that can be cleared first. After that, devotees may add or comment so that we can have a meaningful discussion. Then we will go to the next sloka. We have time. Okay. I think no doubts. Then any comments or further addition? Okay. So as it is told, it is a village where the real Vedic culture can be practiced. In cities, there are limitations. So as Prabhu told, for the sustenance, we are in cities now, but whatever is possible are to be done by us. And one fine day, maybe we all will be able to live in a place where cultivation and cow farming also possible. So we can look forward for that day. And, it will be very, very encouraging to have such a dream. Maybe it may take some years for us, maybe many years still, to have that hope. And I think now we have enough time. Sri Kumar Prabhu may read the next text. Thank you.
Guruji. No, Guruji, recently,
Yeah.
about this one only, just
Yeah.
in the city, in wherever the cultivation is going on, I mean,
Yes.
we can produce, but now it is not profitable. Everybody is after profit, no? So that
Yes,
is the
Prabhu.
problem.
Correct.
Yeah.
Prabhu, profit alone is not the what is called aim or purpose of life.
Yes,
Suppose-
Guruji, but the
yeah.
thing is that
Correct.
nobody is nobody
that
is
is why it
encouraged.
is told that no, instead of investing on concrete jungles and big vehicles and lot of
Very correct.
other
But,
additional real estate,
yes, Guruji, from the
invest.
cultivation,
Yeah.
I know, Guruji. I mean, it is not. So you are losing money from the pocket. So nobody want.
No, but the health
make it-
benefit, the health benefit, what you get,
Yes,
it
yes, yes,
cannot
of
be
course. That is
compensated
the,
with money, bro.
yes, that is the plus point. But
Yes, not only health
nobody is-
benefit, the benefits you are giving to nature,
exactly,
where you are
exactly.
not polluting. Like
Yeah.
we are advised to eat only seasonal fruits and seasonal vegetables. Nowadays, what happened? 12 months, everything is available.
Yes,
Apple
yes,
is available over the year, throughout the year.
yes,
Mango is available, grape is available. That is not correct. So that is they are genetically and biologically modified. They are not good for health. Ayurveda says about 5 facts about what we should eat. It should be seasonal. It should be fresh, like that. It should
yes,
be locally grown.
correct.
So there are 5 things. So
Yes, correct.
it is not
And
not profitable. That is okay.
yeah, whatever we are getting from here and there, it's all of them are poisonous. I mean, we
Yes,
know from.
that is why, Prabhu, nowadays, before, the sugar used to be after 60 years of age, then it became 50, then it is 40. Now it is in early 30s and late 20s.
Exactly.
People have affected by sugar and pressure.
Yes, yes. Yeah. All disease, not only this.
All this is kidney is very much affected.
Yes, yes.
Cancer is,
Anyway, thank
it's
you.
like a Damocles sword.
No, what I was saying a fact, what you
Yes,
are
yes.
saying.
That's why, Prabhu, in my case, like in many of the case, we all had lands, lot of lands. Some of us still have. Why we left and came to higher material education and cities? Because not profitable. That is very true. But let us have a good saving and settle back to village.
Like Goshala and all. It
Yes,
is
yes.
a wonderful idea. It is. You should.
Devotees can together. They can together if they are living together. And one more thing is that we should be able to work. No, labor costs are very high. So it is
Very
not
heavy.
profitable. If you are able to work, then it will be somewhat no profit, no loss that we can.
Yeah, that way at least we can do. But
On terrace, in the balcony, inside the rooms, people are cultivating vegetables and fruits nowadays.
yes, yes, carry bags on carry bags.
Yes, there are many methods out there.
Okay.
Yes,
Anyway,
so-
thank you. Just I was saying.
Yes,
what
yes.
is-
It's not. We cannot have it as our main income. That is true. You cannot give education to your children in a good academic institution.
Sure. Yeah. All this.
You cannot construct a decent house with that income. You may not be able to buy a small 4-wheeler for that purpose. That's okay. So what Prabhu was saying is that those who are well-to-do, I mean those who are in Middle East or in West, Europe,
Fantastic
Canada,
idea.
Australia or US, and often East like Singapore and all, they can
Yes.
work hard for some years and then settle back, then have a high thinking and plain living type of lifestyle.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. So we'll go to next verse number 45. And read Hare Krishna. Tado Agnimarudau Rajannamuchhamukhadorusha Mahim Nirvirudham Kartum Samvartaga Ivatyaye Tado Agnimarudau Rajannamuchhamukhadorusha Mahim Nirviryadhum Kartum Samvartaga Ivatyaye. Translation purport by His Divine Grace Abhijana Ravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. My dear King, at the time of devastation, Lord Shiva emits fire and air from his mouth out of anger. to make the surface of the earth completely treeless, the Prachetas also emitted fire and air from their mouths. Purport. In this verse, Vidura is addressed as Rajan, which means O king. In this regard, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura comments that a Dhira never becomes angry because he is always situated in devotional service. Advanced devotees can control their senses. Therefore, a devotee can be addressed as Rajan. A king controls and rules in various ways among citizens. Similarly, one who can control his senses is the king of the senses, his senses. He is a servant or Goswami. The Swamis and Goswamis are therefore sometimes addressed as Maharaja or king. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So continuing the discussion, here we can see that the Prachetas emit fire, they are from the mouth to clear the trees. So the translation, my dear king, so is addressing Vidura. My dear king, at the time of devastation, it's always compared during Pralaya, Lord Shiva emits fire and air from his mouth out of anger. So we know that he makes a famous cosmic dance also and emits fire and air from his mouth out of anger. So similarly, to make the surface of earth completely treeless, the Prachetas also emitted fire and air from their mouths to clear the trees. So purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, I think it is a self-explanatory purpose only, that Vidura is addressed as Rajan means, Raja means, we know, it's a king. So Prabhupada refers to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments in this regard, that a Dhira means, we know, it's a sober person. He never becomes angry because he's always situated in devotional service. So one of the important quality of a Dhira or sober person is actually, he's always actually situated in devotional service and he is not disturbed mentally by external circumstances. Advanced devotees can control their senses. So we know that from Nectar of Instruction also, that who can become a guru, that who can control his senses. Vacho Vegam, Manaso Vegam, Jiva Vegam, Uttaraprastha Vegam. So advanced devotees can control their senses. Therefore, a devotee can be addressed as Rajan, because Rajan means, Raja means it's like controlling. That's why, what is king? King means controls a citizen. So here when Raja means he controls the senses. A king controls and rules in various ways among the citizens. So similarly, one who can control his senses, the same way as a king is controlling his citizens, similarly, one who can control his senses. A very nice analogy is given here. Why he is addressed as Rajan? Because he is a devotee, but he's not a king, but still he is addressed as a king. So that purport, Prabhupada very clearly writes with a reference from Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, that one who can control his senses is the king of his senses. And what is his name in Sanskrit is called as Goswami. Goswami means one who can control his senses. So we know like a lot of Srila Prabhupada disciples are addressed as his grace Satsasura Goswami Maharaj, and his grace Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, and his grace, like we know all these Maharajs are addressed like Goswami. So he is called as a Swami, or he is also called as a Goswami. Goswami senses and who controls that is called as Goswami. The Swamis and Goswamis, whereas the other persons who are not able to control their senses called as Godas. Okay, Go means sense, Das means servant. So here it is addressed as Goswami. The Swamis and Goswamis are therefore sometimes addressed as Maharaj. Raja means controller, king, we know. Maharaj means they are actually superior kings. Like Yudhishthira Maharaj. We say Yudhishthira Maharaj means he had a perfect control over not only over his citizens, but also over his senses. So spiritual people also can be addressed as Raja or Maharaj because their capability to control their senses. Hare Krishna. So any points of discussion on this translation verse?
Hare Krishna, doubts can be cleared first, if any, or comments are welcome. Additions are welcome. Prabhu, I don't.
Self-explanatory only, no, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, I remember Jagasastri Prabhu's lecture once he given that. Yes, told about this topic. Why spiritual masters are called Maharajas?
Maharajas, yes.
They have perfect control over their senses and body.
Yes.
Hare Krishna. I think. Time. No, so we have
Yeah,
10 more minutes.
Finish, Prabhu,
Yeah.
because 46. This
We can
43 to 46 is actually the Prachetas this one. After that,
Yes.
next maybe tomorrow 47 to 51 actually finishing this chapter is birth and activities of Daksha. So we can finish the one more verse also.
Yes. I think it's not that big. Oh, it's small only. So next
Small.
volunteer, please unmute and start reading. Whoever wants to read, please. Krishna requesting one volunteer. Okay.
Okay, I will read, Parush.
Yes, Prabhu, please. We'll not waste time.
Verse number 46. Bhasmasad kriyamanam stan druman vichya pidamaha agada shamayamasa putran barhishmadonayai. Bhasmasad kriyamanam stan druman vichya pidamaha agada shamayamasa putran barhishmadonayaiha. Translation purported by His Divine Grace Abhicharana Ravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. After seeing that all the trees of the surface of the earth were being turned to ashes, Lord Brahma immediately came to the sons of King Barhishman and pacified them with words of logic. Hare Krishna. Purport. When there is some uncommon occurrence on any planet, Lord Brahma, being in charge of the whole universe, immediately comes to control the situation. Lord Brahma also came when Hiranyakashipu underwent severe penances and austerities and made the whole universe tremble. A responsible man in any establishment is always alert to keep peace and harmony within the establishment. Similarly, Lord Brahma is also allowed to keep peace and harmony within this universe. He consequently pacified the sons of King Barhishman with good logic. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. So continuing the discussion, now the Prachetas emitted fire. The previous verse you have seen. As a result of what happened, because of they were emitting fire, all the trees on the surface of the earth being turned to ashes. So many things were changing. So Brahma, who is called the secondary creator, because he is responsible for this universe, on behalf of Lord Krishna, he immediately came to the sons of King Barhishman and pacified them with the word of life. So Brahma want to pacify them so that they will not do much more this one. So Lord Brahma came here. So Prabhupada writing in the purport, whenever there is some uncommon occurrence on any planet, not only in Bhuloka, in any planet is written. Lord Brahma being changed, that means in any 14 planetary systems, and there is an uncommon occurrence, Lord Brahma being in charge of the whole universe, immediately comes to the control to control the situation. Lord Brahma also came, example is given, when Hiranyakashipu made the tapasya, underwent severe penances and austerities and made the whole universe tremble. We all know the famous pastime of Hiranyakashipu, who was standing in one leg and chanting, doing tapasya for so many years. And then Lord Brahma appeared. And responsible man in any establishment is always allowed to keep peace and harmony within the establishment. Like in any company or any organization, there's always a CEO. So a CEO always monitors the situation of the company, and something goes out of control or out of hand, immediately he will interfere and adjust accordingly. Similarly, Brahma is responsible for the creation of this universe, all this 14 planetary system. So Brahma, if there is any disturbance, he immediately appears at the place to re-establish things to normal condition. So similarly, Lord Brahma is also allowed to keep peace and harmony within this universe. He consequently pacified the sons of King Barishman with good logic. So Brahma presented his instructions with good logic so that they are all pacified and they go back to their kingdom. So with this, we are completing this section where the Prachetas come back to their kingdom back because they clear the trees, everything. Then after that, what happens, how the Prachetas marry the Marisha, which was actually the daughter of the trees. And then from them, actually, Daksha taken birth, again second birth, because of his offense to Lord Shiva. These are all 47 to 51, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51. 5 verses focuses about how this Prachetas marry Marisha, and then they give she gives birth to Daksha, and then also some daughters also, and how they expand the progeny. That is being discussed in this 5 verses. With this, the chapter 30th chapter completes. Then next chapter will be 31, how Narada Muni is instructing the Prachetas. So the Prachetas also finish their kingdom rule and they retire for their spiritual progress. That time Narada Muni is again enlightening them. That will be the chapter number 31. Hare Krishna. So any point of discussion? Yes, please feel free to express that. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for giving this opportunity.
Thank you. Devotees can ask doubts if any. Can comment on the topic, can add some useful points. Okay. If nothing from devotee said, I have a request to remember other occasions where Brahma had intervened. We have studied them. Maybe some of you are remembering.
Harish Prabhuji, can you please repeat the question?
Like here now we saw Brahma's intervention, no?
Yes, yes.
So
when Indra came to steal the horse of Prithu Maharaj.
Yes,
and
yes.
all the
Correct. Yes. And Brahma told, let there be only 99 sacrifices for Prithu. So
yeah, that's enough. It is considered as 100.
Yes, fine. Because Brahma, as the head of this universe, has a very high level of highest level of responsibilities. Because Brahma is directly responsible to the Supreme Lord. Okay. Thank you, Mataji. Another time also, Ramayan time, when Ravan was trying to conquer the entire universe, he had a clash with Yama. The Yama could not win with ordinary weapons. The Yamadharmaraj, what he did, he took Mrityudand, and no living being can stand in front of Mrityudand. If Mrityudand is fall upon an individual or any jiva, any being, that being has to die. Then Brahma came and told, no, Yama, please hold. His time of death has not come. That will not be by any Devadas, that will be by Lord Ram in the form of a human being. So here we can understand about how this responsible administrators handle the situations in their organization. Sure, no? So they have to be very much patient, knowledgeable, and guide their subordinates. Everyone in this material world are subordinates to Brahma. So here and about as in the purport, Hiranyakashipu's case also interfered. So these are all the lessons we can learn when we lead our family or office or any other organizations. We have to be very much tolerant, caring, supportive, and the purpose of the organization should not be forgotten. That is the main. For that, adjustments and sacrifices are to be made. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
So we cannot. We have to stop now, Prabhu, because 10:28. Let us
Yes,
finish
yes.
in time. Let us start in time, finish in time.
Yes, yes.
Our devotees happy. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
Sure, Broji. No, Broji. Shivana Broji also.
I would like to listen from others also, those who can mute and speak our realization, the changes Srimad Bhagavatam made in their life, 1 hour a day. At least some are regular readers and listeners. Very well. I think everybody is busy. Everybody is in listening mode.
Shravanam.
Yeah, Shravanam mode.
Shravana.
That's enough. Shravanam is enough. Parish Maharaj, attained perfection by Shravanam. I think some are in workplace. Sankarnanda Murari Prabhu may be in workplace only. Suresh Prabhu, you are working today or you have off?
No, Prabhuji, yeah, I have off today, Prabhuji.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for joining, Prabhu. Please.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay, thank you.
Whenever you have time, please.
Every day running the program is very difficult. So Srimad Prabhu and other regular devotees.
Prabhuji, Prabhuji is there to guide us. Nothing is.
No. It's all Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. So we all are just instruments in the hands of Lord, Acharyas, and Guru Parampara and senior devotees. We are happy that they are making us instruments. So for that we should be on the track. Then they will guide us.
Yes. Thank you.
Be on the track.
And special thanks to Shivana Prabhuji. Every
Yes,
Saturday,
yes, Prabhu is willing to come and
enlighten. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. For the full week, we are charged.
Very
You are
well.
giving opportunity, bro.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So, and the next verses also, Prabhuji told whatever. Somehow it, yeah.
And
So we have an idea going to
Yes.
happen next week. But we are ready. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
And who all from Ratna Madaji, Sarita Madaji, Gita Madaji, and Valsa Madaji joined from India, Srimad Prabhu. Okay, thank you. It's afternoon time. Still you are in the time for lunch, in fact. No. Thank you. We don't want to delay your lunch. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
So,
Thank you.
would like to express our sincere, heartfelt gratitude to Sri Krishna Prabhuji for his time, efforts, and his mercy.